Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Foreign Alliance. I'm Jacob. This is Luke. Like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Comment down below. And in today's video, we're doing a recap about what if our first impressions of the show on Disney Plus. It will be a weekly series in the channel. And I guess to cap off for the audience about your first impressions, Luke, what did you think about the animation and the scenario with the first scenario?
Yeah, so What If is a cool concept. I hadn't heard of it until we reacted to the trailer a little while back. I was a bit skeptical of it because I'm not a big animation fan. It was good. I thought it was really good. Later on I'll go into what I liked about it, but first impressions, the animation, I liked it. It reminded me of, is it like those, I think it's called Telltale Games. They make games like there's like a Batman game and then they make the Walking Dead games. It looked like that. And I liked that animation. I thought it was cool that the voice actors were the actors that played the characters in the real life were the voice actors in this. And I liked the concept. I was questioned whether it was going to be a continuation thing, or it still might be, or they're going to be related. But it seems like each episode is just a scenario. And so the first episode, we're faced with the scenario of what if Peggy Carter became the first Avenger.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, instead of Steve Rogers getting the serum, she gets the serum. She becomes Agent Captain Carter. Yeah, she becomes Captain Carter, and it was cool how it played out. So, like, what played out in the episode? What changed in this scenario from the movie?
Basically, the big difference was in the movie when she got told to go into the room. In this scenario, from the first Captain America, she decided to stay, and basically, instead of her getting the serum, Steve Rogers got shot because from the Hydra assassin that came, kind of things went wrong, and then she took the serum because Tony Stark's dad didn't want to, so she did, and that's the scenario.
Yeah, so she gets the powers, but then they play on this whole idea of, because she's a female, that her boss is not happy about it, doesn't want her actually to do field work. He doesn't trust her, doesn't think that she's worth it. And Steve's left as his little tiny self. He doesn't get bigger.
Yeah.
And what's Tony's dad's name? Mr. Stark. He comes up with the idea of sending her out to do some field work and try and get the Tesseract. And I guess the scenario plays out the same as in the movie, but instead of it being Steve, it's her. And we see a cool scene with her like flipping cars and fighting bad guys. And then she goes on to rescue like Bucky and then the platoon from where they were held by Hydra, just like the movie did. But then we're thrown with the surprise of Steve becoming basically the Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
But he gets
first Iron Man.
but they call it the Hydra Stomper, and I guess it's made because he has access to the Tesseract to do it. Where I guess in the movies, he talks about how the tech of his time didn't allow him to make the sorts of things that his son would go on to make, but somehow he creates a Hulkbuster well in advance. But I guess the Tesseract is the reason, because he had access to that. I don't know. That's one thing I don't quite buy, that if he didn't have the technology of his time to be able to make that prior, why in this scenario he suddenly could. And then I guess the movie it plays out the same as the movie.
But we get one reference from when Bucky and Carter talk about his arm, how in our timeline he loses his arm and becomes a Winter Soldier, but he makes reference to what happened, but in this timeline it doesn't happen. What I thought was cool.
Yeah, it's funny. He nearly falls off the train, but he gets caught, and he's like, "Oh, you nearly ripped my arm off."
Yeah.
And so we know the reference to that. And then the Hulkbuster gets stuck in the snow and then that's how the Hydra re-get the Tesseract.
Yeah.
And then they somehow open up an interdimensional link, and then this weird
Octopus.
which is, I guess, is meant to be the Hydra's mascot. It's like on all their things. And
Red Skull just gets squashed.
Yeah, and then you talk about the fight scene that happens there with this the octopus looking thing.
Well, the octopus and Captain Carter basically square off, and then she gets the sword, and basically it's a pretty cool action scene. And then Steve Rogers comes in with the Hulkbuster, and then unfortunately the same thing happens, but in reverse way to what happened in the first movie. Basically, that she goes through the portal where that happened, and 70 years have passed.
Yeah, so then she pops out, and at the other end we've got Nick Fury and Hawkeye there. Which in the original movie, who pops out that end? Is it Loki?
Well, in the original movie, Captain America was in ice, so they got him out. In the original movie, it was just Nick Fury.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought that someone popped out of the Tesseracts in one of the movies.
That was in the first Avengers.
Yeah, okay. So I was getting those scenes mixed up. So yeah, so that happens, and yeah, and I really like the concept. It was a cool episode. What are you got any nitpicks or anything about it that?
Guess my only nitpick is that we basically got to take the writer's words that this would have happened. Like, we're not the writers, so they're basically saying, oh, this little one thing would have changed everything. Because we were told in the first Avengers movie that, it's the heart of the soldier and all this stuff. And then with Peggy Carter, we basically got to believe that she's good at heart, but we don't know. She didn't go through the trials and stuff like that, so that's my only main criticism.
Yeah, I think mine is the fact that he made the Hulkbuster. I don't know if that needed to be added, and it kind of contradicts other things in other movies about technology. Like, why didn't he make that earlier? I guess they always fear that they can't control the Tesseract, but somehow he was able to use it to weaponize it, which I don't buy either. And what was the Red Skull's plan with this octopus thing? He said that it was going to get the size of Europe and consume the world. I think that was a really odd plan by Red Skull. And then I guess, why does Peggy go pushing it back into the Tesseract? How does she? Portal, how does she then pop out the other end? Like, where did she go in between? Was she fighting this octopus in its own dimension? I don't know. I guess we don't need to think about it too much, but. Overall, I thought it was good. Like, the fact that if you hadn't seen the movies, you'd be watching this going, this doesn't, there's so many missing parts, but we could have seen the movies. It was like a highlights package. They just showed the important parts.
Did you like the montage, like in the first Avenger, how it was basically her with the boys, and it kind of went through the same thing?
I thought it was really cool. For someone that's not a fan of animation, it surprised me. I'm looking forward to episode 2. What do you think episode 2 might be? Which scenario out of the ones we've seen in the...
Well, since it was about the first Avenger, I would assume it will be about Iron Man.
That's my thought. I have a feeling the next episode's going to be about that. So what we've seen from the trailer, that he gets saved by Killmonger instead of getting taken by the Taliban or the terrorist or whoever it is that takes him. I guess we don't know, is Killmonger good or bad in this, because in the Black Panther movies,
he's a villain.
Yeah, well, he's a villain because he felt that he got mistreated, that he deserved to be the rightful king of Wakanda and this and that. So maybe in this he doesn't feel that way. Maybe he actually is a Wakandan and he is the king of Wakanda, or who knows. So I guess we'll see what plays out differently in this scenario and why they would get Stark involved. Maybe they feel that they need Stark's mind to help with some of their tech, but to be honest, it seems like the Wakandans are smarter than him anyway. So I don't know. I guess that I think that's what episode 2 might be about.
Did you like how the Watchers basically the narrator and kind of the voice throughout the scenario, and then it ended with him saying, "Oh, I can't change it. I'm just going through the motions.
Well,
with
it makes
Lloyd.
you wonder who it is. Like, is the Watcher like Kang? Like, he can see all things that have happened in time, but Kang gets involved where this person doesn't.
Mm.
So I don't know. I guess, does the narrator need to have a name? Can it just be the narrator?
Yeah.
There must be a reason for it why they gave him a name.
So I guess first impressions are. Does this first scenario make you want to watch the remaining 9? And also just recent news that season 2 has been confirmed for 10 episodes. Season 1 has 10 episodes and season 2 is 10 episodes.
Yeah, it definitely makes me want to keep watching. I think at the moment this is heading to be a really highly rated series based on the fact that it's just hypotheticals. It doesn't. We actually don't have to. Even if an episode was bad, you wouldn't hate it because you go, oh, it's just a hypothetical. Like, they don't risk ruining anything. It's not like you go, oh, they've ruined the Marvel series, they've added this character and I don't like it. It's like, it's hypothetical scenarios. They actually don't mean anything. You could actually ignore some of the episodes and it wouldn't matter because they're just hypotheticals. So it's a very cool concept.
And which character are you most looking forward to seeing in when it eventually becomes that character's scenario?
Maybe in season 2 they might do something with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
I like Ant-Man, so maybe that, or even something Spider-Man related. From what we've seen from the trailers, I'm looking forward to the episode where it shows some of the characters as zombies, and I want to know what the story is behind that. But characters I'd like to see alternate scenarios for would be Ant-Man and Spider-Man, but I don't really know what. Because, like, what would be a different scenario for Ant-Man? What, someone else becomes Ant-Man? So maybe there isn't a cool storyline with him. I guess some other alternate scenarios would be like... I don't know. I guess the writers are the smart ones. I can't really think of ones which I would have liked to seen played out differently. I guess maybe if Hawkeye sacrifice himself instead of Black Widow, that would be a scenario worth seeing. Maybe different things like that.
Yeah.
But I guess it's one of those things we don't know what's coming, so it's the mystery.
So you're very much looking forward to episode 2?
Yeah, what about you? What are you looking forward to and what character do you want to see an alternate scenario for?
Maybe the Iron Man scenario and also the Black Panther becomes Star-Lord.
Yeah, I'm intrigued what the story is with that. Whether he becomes Star-Lord or whether he just becomes friends with...
Handu.
Yeah, like that's I'm not sure. I don't reckon he becomes Star-Lord. I reckon it's just those two somehow interact with each other. Because there is, in the trailer, I saw Drax. So there is something to do with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for episode 2 to come out.
Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for helping Luke. See you in the next What If video and episode. Comment, like and subscribe. Let the force be with you. Bye-bye.